Welcome to Learn English Speaking. Let's Talk Stories. Here we bring you amazing stories to improve your English fluency. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exciting lessons. Let's learn together.
Chapter 5 Jason and Maria. Maria opened the front door of her house and let Jason in. "Hi," said Jason, and kissed Maria. She took his head in her hands and looked at him for a few seconds. "What are you looking at? Have I got something on my face?" asked Jason, and he kissed her again. "No, I just wanted to look at you. You've got a lovely face," replied Maria, and walked into the living room. "Are you okay?" asked Jason, following her. "I haven't seen much of you this week." "I'm fine," replied Maria. Then she turned and looked at Jason. She saw someone who was her best friend. She saw a person she loved, but she knew that she was going to change everything. "Jason, sit down. I need to talk to you," said Maria. She took his hand. "There isn't an easy way to say this, but I've met someone else." "What do you mean, met someone else?" For a moment, Jason didn't understand. Then his face went white. "When I was on holiday with my family in France at New Year, I met a man and—" This was the difficult bit to say. "And I think I love him." "You said you love me," said Jason in a loud voice. "I did. I do. I do love you, but maybe like a brother. I feel a different love for Francois." Maria looked at Jason. "Oh, Jason, I'm sorry. I didn't want this to happen." "You don't love him," said Jason. "It was just a holiday romance. How can you fall in love with someone else? Have you heard from him since the holiday? Have you seen him? Does he say that he loves you?" "Yes, he loves me too," Maria answered. "We've emailed each other every day, and he came to London last week for a few days. I saw him then, when I stayed at my sister's." "You told me your sister wanted to spend some time with you," said Jason. "So that wasn't true, was it?" Jason looked at Maria. He couldn't believe what was happening. "When we finish school in the summer, I'm going to Paris to study. Francois is studying there at the moment," Maria said, not looking at Jason. "You've thought of everything, haven't you?" "When did you decide all this?" Jason asked. Maria didn't reply. Jason got up, put on his coat, and said, "I'm going. I can't stay here. It hurts just to look at you." "Will you be all right?" asked Maria. "I don't know. And anyway, it's not your problem now, is it?" replied Jason angrily. "Jason, please don't," said Maria. "Don't go. We need to talk some more." But Jason was already running out of the front door. He ran and ran until he couldn't run any more. He wasn't angry anymore, but just so sad. He started to walk slowly home. He hoped his mother was out. He didn't want to talk to anyone. When he got to his house, he saw the lights were on. He tried to open the door quietly, but he couldn't. "Is that you, Jason?" called his mother from the living room. "Yes," he replied. She came to the door of the living room. "Why are you back so early?" "I'll tell you tomorrow," replied Jason. "I'm going to my room now." "Please, can you come into the living room for a moment?" his mother said. "Do I have to?" asked Jason. "Yes," his mother replied. Jason followed his mother into the living room and saw a man sitting on the sofa. "Jason," said his mother, "this is your father, Simon." Jason looked at the man and said nothing. Simon said nothing, but couldn't look at Jason. After a minute or two, Jason said coldly, "So where have you been for the last 12 years?" His father replied, "It's difficult, but let me try and tell you what happened." But Jason didn't want to hear any more things that evening. For the second time that day, he ran out of a house. He went to the river and sat looking at the water. He felt lost. Everything was different. Maria loved someone else. A strange man, someone he called Dad 12 years ago, was sitting in his house. Jason felt he was going mad. The weather was cold and it was raining, but he just sat looking at the river. For a moment he thought about jumping into the water and letting it take him away. Who will be sorry? Nobody, he thought. But, deep inside, he didn't really believe that. He put his hand into his pocket and found some cigarettes. He lit one, stood up, and turned away from the river. For hours he walked the streets of Bath. The rain was still falling and he was wet through. At about 3 o'clock in the morning, he was outside the city's mail depot. There was a lot happening. Big vans were arriving with bags of letters. Jason was happy to stand outside the gate and watch the bags going into the building. He stopped thinking about his problems for a bit, and time passed. One of the men shouted to him, "Hey, mate, you all right? Want a job or something?" Jason didn't answer. A voice called out from inside the building. "Harry, tea's ready. Leave those bags and come and get it." The big gate opened to let the next van in, and Jason just followed. The man at the gate didn't see him behind the van. He was too busy reading his newspaper. The driver got out of the van and went inside. Then there was nobody but Jason. He wanted to get out of the rain, so he got into the van and sat down between the bags of letters. It was dry and comfortable. He smoked his last cigarette and then closed his eyes. He woke up a short time later when he heard the sound of people laughing in the building. For a moment he didn't know where he was. Then he remembered. He knew he must go home and talk to his mother. And then there was his father. Jason was angry with him, but he did want to know why he was back. "And I don't want anyone to find me in this van," he thought. He jumped out and waited in the dark for the gate to open again. When it did, he ran out. A voice called out behind him, "Hey, you! Stop!" But he didn't. He ran on. His head was hurting, and his clothes felt wet and uncomfortable. There was only one thing in his life that made him feel good: going away to art school in the autumn. It was really important that he heard from the London Art School soon. Chapter 6. Nina and David talk. David lay in the bath. He thought about Nina's new job and about all of them moving to Newcastle. He loved working at Julie's, and he was sorry to leave it. And Max liked his school. But Nina was important too. David knew she was wonderful at her job. He got out of the bath and put on his jeans and a blue sweater. He went into Max's bedroom. His son was asleep. David sat on his bed for a few minutes. Then he gave him a kiss, turned off the light, and left the room. "Just going to phone Mum and Dad," David called to Nina. "Okay. Remember, don't tell them about my new job," said Nina. "No, I won't," replied David. David phoned his father. "Hi, Dad. Are you okay?" "Fine," replied his father. "Your mother and I had a lovely walk by the sea this afternoon. Anyway, it's good you phoned. We wanted to tell you there's something in the post for you. For your birthday on Tuesday. It'll be a surprise, I know, but I hope it's a good surprise." "That sounds interesting," said David. "Are you going to tell me anything more about it?" "No, you'll have to wait. Let me just get your mother. I know she wants to speak to you," his father said. "Joan!" his father shouted to his mother. "It's David on the phone." "Coming," David heard his mother's voice. And then he heard her say in a quiet voice to his father, "Have you told him?" And the answer, "No." "Hello, David," said his mother. "Are we going to see you soon? Can you come down next weekend?" "Yes, on Sunday," said David. "We can't on Saturday because I'm working, but Sunday will be fine." "Oh, good," replied his mother happily. "We want to see our lovely grandson again. We're lucky that you live near, so we can see him quite often." David said something, but all the time he was thinking, how can we tell them that we're taking him away to Newcastle? "I'll give the phone back to your father now. I know he wants to tell you something about the garden," his mother said. "See you all next Sunday." "Bye, Mum," David said. He then listened to his father talking about some ideas he had for his garden. David could hear how excited he was. His father was only really happy when he was outside and doing things. At the end of the conversation, his father said again, "I hope our surprise for your birthday is what you want." "I'll ring you as soon as I get it," replied David. "Bye for now, Dad." David put the phone down and walked into the living room. "Everything okay?" asked Nina. "Yes, fine," said David. "I said we'll go down to see them next Sunday for the day. That's okay, isn't it?" "Sure." Nina saw the look on David's face. "Mum said how she loved having Max so near," said David, "and I felt bad. They're getting older, and they'll be so sad when we tell them about Newcastle." "Oh, David, I know, but they'll want us to do the right thing for us, as a family," replied Nina. "But now, I really don't know if it is the right thing anymore," said David quietly. They talked for hours, and the questions were always the same. Is it right for us to go to Newcastle? Do we ask your parents to go with us? Do we forget about the new job and stay in Bath? And then there was a new idea. Maybe David and Max could stay in Bath, and Nina could go to Newcastle for the week and come home every weekend. But how could David look after Max and work in the restaurant? In the end, they agreed. It was the same as their earlier decision. Newcastle in June for all the family. "It'll be okay, won't it?" asked Nina. "I hope so, love," replied David. "I really hope so." Chapter 7. Maggie's Visitor. Belen gave Javier's email back to Maggie. "That's very strange," she said. "Maybe he's done something wrong. Perhaps the police are after him or something." "No, not Javier," said Maggie. "Why not, Maggie?" answered Belen. "I mean, we were only in Chile for 3 weeks. How well do we know him? Have you had any other emails or letters from him?" "Yes, an earlier email, but it didn't say anything about coming to England," replied Maggie. "Oh well, there's nothing you can do. Just wait for the letter and hope it's nothing bad," said Belen. "I've just remembered something. Do you mind if I make a quick call?" asked Maggie. "Someone phoned me just before you arrived, but they didn't leave a message." "Go ahead," said Belen. "I'll go into the kitchen." No problem," answered Maggie. "Stay. I won't be a minute. Then we can eat." Maggie rang the mobile number. "Hello," said a foreign voice. It was a man. "Oh, hello," said Maggie. "You called this number earlier. Bath 726549. Who are you?" "I'm sorry," answered the man. "It was a wrong number." "Oh, okay. Bye then," said Maggie, and put the phone down. "Wrong number." Maggie turned to Belen. "Someone with a Spanish-sounding voice, I think." "From Chile, perhaps?" asked Belen. "Maybe," said Maggie. "Anyway, it's not important. Let's go into the kitchen and have dinner." Maggie and Belen ate the lasagna. They looked at photos from their holiday and laughed at some of the things they remembered. There was a noise from the living room, and they both jumped. "It's okay," Maggie laughed. "It's only the window. When it's windy, it always makes a noise." But then there was another, different noise. Someone was at the front door. "What a bad time to call," said Maggie. She walked to the front door. When she opened it, she saw a man. "Yes?" she asked. "Can I help you?" "Are you Maggie Cox?" asked the man. "Yes," answered Maggie, And who... But she didn't finish her question. The man came into the house and closed the door behind him. "Excuse me," said Maggie angrily. "What are you doing? Who are you?" Belen heard her shouting and came out of the kitchen. "Sit down, both of you," said the man quietly. "I don't want to hurt you." Belen and Maggie sat together on the sofa. "I'm looking for a friend of yours, Javier Santos," said the man. "He's not here," said Maggie and Belen at the same time. "Who are you?" asked Maggie. "Let's just say I'm a friend of the Santos family," answered the man. "I know he's in England, and I want to talk to him." "I haven't heard from him since we got back from Chile," said Maggie quickly. "Really?" said the man. He walked round the room and looked at everything. Postcards from friends on holiday, the phone bill that was on top of the TV. Then Maggie remembered Javier's email. It was on the table next to her. It was too late to move it. The man saw it. "So this is from another Javier, is it? Where's the letter he talks about in the email?" asked the man. "I haven't had it yet," said Maggie. She was afraid, and she could feel Belen was too. She didn't understand what the man was doing in her house. "How did you know where I live?" asked Maggie. "I found your address in Javier's home," said the man, "and your photo. Did you have a good time in my country, Maggie?" Maggie didn't answer the question. She asked, but half of her didn't want to know. "Why are you looking for Javier?" "He's got something that I want," said the man. "But maybe he gave it to you to bring back to England." The man walked up to Maggie and stood very close. "He didn't give me anything," said Maggie. "Maybe he didn't, but I know that Javier will come here soon, and when he does, I'll be ready for him." The man looked hard at Maggie. "You did a bad thing, Maggie, when you chose Javier," said the man. "He's not right for a nice girl like you." He moved away. "Remember, Maggie, I'll come back." Belen and Maggie jumped up when the man left. "You must phone the police, Maggie," said Belen. "This is terrible. You must come home with me. You're not safe here." Maggie phoned and told the police everything. She told them, "I'm not going to stay here. I'm going to stay with a friend tonight. You can call me on my mobile. 04776 567 831. The police asked her to go to the police station the next day. Maggie put some things in a bag, ready to leave with Belen. "I'm so stupid," said Maggie. "I thought Javier was really nice. I believed he loved me. But he was just playing." Maggie and Belen called a taxi and left Moorland Road half an hour later. Chapter 8. What Sam Didn't Know. How am I going to find £700? Thought Sam that Friday evening. And why didn't I tell Hannah about Jeremy? But it was too late now. Emma was going to Norway. "That's so great, Dad! Thank you," she said and kissed him. It made Sam happy to see her so excited. "I know what I'll do," thought Sam sadly. "On Monday morning, I'll take some of the jewellery my mother gave me before she died. There's a jeweller's shop on the way to work. I'm sure they'll be interested in buying diamond rings." Sam didn't want to sell the jewellery. He knew his mother wanted Emma to have it. "Maybe my brother is right," he thought. "I do need a job with better money. I don't know how much longer we can go on like this." That Friday morning, 600 kilometres away in the city of Edinburgh, something important happened that could change Sam's life. But Sam knew nothing about it. Two people, a man and a woman, arrived at the offices of lawyers Barrett, Grab and Lennox. A man took the two visitors upstairs to the office of Frank Barrett. It was a very old-fashioned place with big, dark wood furniture. There were hundreds of law books all around the room. "Good morning," said Mr. Barrett to the visitors. "It's Paul and Sonia Cooper, isn't it? Please sit down." "Thank you," said Sonia, and sat down next to her brother Paul. "I'm sorry about your father," said Mr. Barrett. "We looked after his business for years here." "Thank you," said Paul. "He was 91 when he died. But now we need to know what he decided to do with his money and things." "Paul," said Sonia, "that sounds terrible." "It's okay," said Mr. Barrett. "Let me tell you what he wrote in his will." Mr. Barrett didn't always enjoy reading a will to a family. Sometimes there were surprises in it that they didn't like. "I leave my house and all that is in the house to my two children, Paul and Sonia. My money I give to my grandchildren, Robert, Amy, and Charlie." Paul and Sonia looked pleased. He continued, "But not all of it." Their smiles became smaller. "I want to leave some of my money to a special person who was a good friend to me in my life, Samuel Davies. About 30 years ago, when my wife died, Sam lived next door to me. He was a young man, but he spent many hours with me at that time. He visited me most days and listened to me when I talked about my wife. He was a true friend. I have never forgotten how kind he was. I want to say thank you to him and to give him £50,000. A few minutes later, Mr. Barrett finished reading, and the office was quiet. Then Paul Cooper said, "Samuel Davies is a lucky man. £50,000 is a lot of money, just for talking to Dad." And Sonia said, "I don't remember him." "Well, that's what Dad wanted to do, and it's his money, so that's that. We can't change anything. But how much will there be for the grandchildren, Paul's children?" "I'm not sure yet. "We'll have to wait and see," said Mr. Barrett. "We have to let Samuel Davies know. It could take quite a long time. You know, the address your father gave us could be wrong now. But I'll write to you as soon as I know." "But if you don't find him, what happens to the money?" asked Sonia. "Oh, I'm sure we'll find him. It could take months, but we usually find people in the end," replied Mr. Barrett. Paul and Sonia left the lawyer's office quietly. Mr. Barrett gave some papers to his secretary, and she wrote a letter to Samuel Davies. At lunchtime, she took the letter to the post office. As she put it in the postbox, she thought, "Lucky Samuel Davies. What's he going to do with £50,000? Back in Bath that Friday evening, of course Sam had no idea about Mr. Cooper and his money. He went to bed unhappy. Was it right to sell his mother's jewellery? And what job could a man his age get that paid more money? Chapter 9. Fire. At 3:30 on the morning of Saturday the 15th of March, a small fire started in a van at the back of the mail depot in Bath. Nobody saw it at first, because everyone was inside the building. Then someone smelled something and shouted, "Fire!" Another person ran outside and saw what was happening. Someone else phoned the fire service. They tried to put out the fire, but they couldn't. The fire service arrived very quickly and put out the fire. But 2 big bags of letters were lost. In those bags were 4 very important letters for some people in Moorland Road. Thank you for coming to see us last week. We really like your work, and we think that you are the kind of student who will do well here at our college. We are very happy to offer you a place here from September. As you know, there are many students who want to come to this art school, so it is important that you reply to us. Please tick the box below and return the letter to the above address by the 25th of March. We look forward to hearing from you soon. Yours sincerely, Neil Parker. Neil Parker, Course Tutor. Yes, I can take a place on the art course starting in September. No, I cannot take a place on the art course starting in September. Dear David, first of all, happy birthday. We hope you have a really lovely day. We've been thinking about our future and we want to do something with our money. We have enough for ourselves, so we've decided to spend some. We know how hard you work at Julie's, and we know that you've always wanted it to be yours. So we've bought it for you. We met Jean-Pierre last month and agreed a price. Yesterday we heard that it's now ours. Well, yours actually. We both know that you're going to make the restaurant better than ever. Can we come to dinner on your first big night? Lots of love to our wonderful son. Mum and Dad. Hope you got my email. And I hope this letter won't make you angry. I'm coming to England because I must leave Chile. I haven't done anything wrong, but my brother has. He's in with some bad people. My brother has disappeared. Nobody knows where he is. His friends think I've got some of his papers, but I haven't. So I want to come to England and get away from all these problems. Maybe I can get a job and stay there for a bit. Also, I want to see you. I think we're at the beginning of an exciting time together. I'll be with you very soon. Until then, please believe me that I have done nothing wrong. Please email me and tell me I can come. Lots of love and kisses. Javier. We are writing about Mr. Thomas Cooper, who has sadly died. Mr. Cooper has remembered you in his will, and we would be grateful if you could write to this office as soon as possible. Yours sincerely, Frank Barrett. And what happened to Jason, David and Nina, Maggie, and the Davies family? Jason went away for 2 weeks to stay with his grandmother. She looked after him, and he began to feel better about himself. When he got back to Bath, he was sad that there was still no letter from the art school in London. He phoned the school, but it was too late. The school said he could have a place the next year. For a year, Jason stayed in Bath and did lots of different jobs. Simon, his father, came to the house sometimes, and Jason began, slowly and carefully, to get to know him. Nina's letter to the head office of the bank arrived safely. David never got the letter from his parents, but his mum and dad phoned him on his birthday, and he learnt about the restaurant. It was the best birthday present in the world. Nina decided to work in Newcastle and come home at the weekends. They were lucky because David's niece came to study at Bath University. She stayed with them and looked after Max. But it wasn't easy for the family. David wanted Nina to come home and work with him in the restaurant. But she stayed at the bank in Newcastle for 18 months. Then she took the job of area manager in Bristol, a city 25 kilometres from Bath. Maggie never heard from the Chilean visitor again. She never heard from Javier again either, and he never arrived in England. Maggie was very sad. She really thought that she and Javier were great together. It was hard for her. She wanted to believe that he was a good person, but all her friends told her to forget him. Sometimes she thought about going back to Chile to find him, but in the end, she didn't. She decided that probably it was just a holiday romance for him after all. Sam sold his mother's jewellery and gave Emma the money. After a few days, he had another conversation with his brother. Then he decided to leave his job at the newspaper and write a book. He worked at home so he could look after Alicia too. At first it was strange for him, but slowly he began to enjoy his new life. It was exciting to write, and Alicia was an easy child. Hannah got a good job in a shop which she enjoyed. They were still short of money. But one day, about 3 months later, he got a letter from Barrett, Grab and Lennox. Life began to look a lot better for Sam and his family.